Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, the channel that brings you your team every single day. The channel is run by the fans for you, the fan. And as always, I'm going to tell you, as I always do, this channel is here to bring you the very latest content, the games, the podcasts, the information, the statements, the rumours, the signings, whatever to do with the greatest club in the world. And we do it for free, for nothing for you. It is free, guys. Yes, you can join if you want to. Pay 99p a month just to support the channel. But look, otherwise you don't have to. You just hit that sub, help us to grow the channel, and it's all free. Absolutely free, guys. We're not one of these, obviously, that will charge you for any content. Well, in our video today, we are going to talk about the biggest story, which is the Jose Cifuentes story that came out yesterday. We've also got more news about Graeme Souness and how he turned down an ambassadorial role and why he obviously turned down that role. We're also going to talk a little bit about Tom Lawrence as well. Obviously, Tom is recovering from yet another injury, unfortunately. And we'll obviously look a little bit towards that game on Saturday when Rangers finally get rid of pre-season and kick off that game, kick off of their SPFL season at 5:15 at Rugby Park in Kilmarnock. The first game of the season. Who will play? How will it go? How many people will Kilmarnock try to injure? We'll obviously have a little look ahead to that as well. Well, where to start? Well, obviously, we'll get on to Graeme Souness shortly, but let's start with the biggest news to come out of yesterday, which was that Jose Cifuentes is finally a Rangers player. He flew into Glasgow midweek, underwent a medical, and is now officially a Rangers player, signing a 4-year contract, moving here from LA to Govan, a bit of a change, for just over £1 million. A quality move now. Rangers obviously had secured Mr. Cifuentes on a pre-contract agreement, which meant he could have joined in January for nothing. But unlike previous Rangers regimes, this regime is very much a now, let's get it done today regime, a very positive, very proactive board of directors, and James Bisgrove and John Bennett moved to get the deal done sooner rather than later, as that is clearly what manager Michael Beale wanted. In Cifuentes, we are getting a very skillful, very talented player, someone who's a box-to-box midfielder, something we don't really have that can go, that can carry the ball. Great skill. Look at his stats, his one-on-one duels defensively and offensively. He is one of the top players in MLS for that. He's also got an eye for a pass, willing to take on a shot as well, something that Rangers badly need to do and something that him and Danilo will hopefully bring to the side. But he certainly is a very talented footballer. And like I said on the video that I released yesterday, the quick reaction video, absolutely buzzing for his arrival. And look, there it is, the photograph we all wanted to see. We always say it's not official until you see the kit and the scarf on the player. Well, there we have not only the kit, but the scarf as well. Showing Jose Cifuentes as a Glasgow Rangers player. And he certainly looks the part in that royal blue jersey, doesn't he? Absolutely fantastic. Now, one of his former teammates has been talking about him. We'll get on to a little bit what Michael Beale and Jose Cifuentes said about the transfer being finalised very shortly. We'll hang on for that, as well as obviously that news about Graeme Souness upcoming too. A former teammate of Jose Cifuentes, Giorgio Chiellini, former Italian international and former Juventus player, very, very talented Italian defender, certainly one of the best defenders of recent years. I mean, I wouldn't put him obviously in the same breath as the Maldinis, Barresis, Cannavaros, Costa Curtas of this world, but he was, he still is, he still plays for LAFC, even though he's 38 years old. He still is a very talented defender. This is a guy in Chiellini who has played with some absolutely super talents. Take, for example, he's played with Alessandro Del Piero, one of the top footballers produced by the Italian by Italian football over recent seasons and recent generations. This is what Giorgio Chiellini had to say about his former teammate Jose Cifuentes. He said, Jose is one of the greatest talents I have ever played with. He's always smiling and positive. He's a great person and a great talent. I wish him well at Glasgow Rangers, and I will be supporting from afar. Fantastic endorsement of Jose Cifuentes from Giorgio Chiellini. And Chiellini is someone, obviously, who knows talent. Like I said, he's played with some exceptionally talented players. Plays with Carlos Vela, who's one of the best players in MLS at the moment. Played with Del Piero. He's played, in the Italian national team with some very, very talented players, Marco Verratti, for example. He knows what makes a good footballer. He has seen up close some of the best footballers in the world. And he's saying that Cifuentes is a great talent, which is a ringing endorsement from a very talented Italian defender. Now, Cifuentes signed earlier, obviously on Thursday, and the news is finally released. Rangers mooting that signing with the Ecuador music and the Ecuador flag and the number 15 jersey. Fantastic. I've got to feel that we'll hear that Ecuador song on a number of occasions this season. On his signing for Rangers, Jose Cifuentes commented, "I'm very excited to be here. I think this club is amazing." Well, Jose, you've got it in one. When I spoke to Michael Beale, he told me about the project, what he wants here for the club, and he told me what he wants from me here. So that's why I joined. I love his project and his vision for football. Now, what is exceptionally telling in that comment that is made by Jose Cifuentes is his comments about Michael Beale. And he's not the first player to have actually said this. A number of our 9, that's right, 9 summer signings have commented on the fact that Michael Beale sold them the project, sold them the vision, players, and he can obviously get buy-in from players, and that's one of the big things as a manager and as a coach you've got to do, get your players to buy in. And it's quite clear that Michael Beale can do that. You've only got to listen to these new signings and what they've been saying about Beale and the project that he has sold to them. Michael Beale said of Jose Cifuentes, "Jose is a player we have followed for a long time. Originally aware of him when he broke through in Ecuador, I have followed him on his journey with LAFC in the MLS." So it's clear that Beale has been tracking Jose Cifuentes for some time. He is a midfielder who can play in a variety of roles, both as a box-to-box and in a more defensive role. He has excelled in the MLS and for the Ecuador national team, which is very true indeed. Yeah, and he is certainly a player who loves a tackle. When I returned to Rangers, he was a name that was immediately discussed and one that we knew we'd have a lot of competition to overcome if we were to sign him. When meeting to discuss the move, it was clear that we aligned in our thinking and on his further development. I am delighted to we have Jose here at Rangers. I must thank everyone involved in the process, making this transfer a reality. It's a fantastic move, and clear Michael Beale is very, very happy that he has his man. Also commenting on the transfer as well, James Bisgrove, who I think it's fair to say has been a phenomenal in the role of CEO, even though he only formally took the role over on the 1st of August. We are thrilled to have added Jose and Danilo to our men's first team squad in the last few days to take us to 9 new exciting signings this summer. They will complement Kieran Dowell, Jack Butland, Dujon Sterling, Sam Lammers, Abdallah Sima, Cyril Dessers and Leon Balogun superbly as we look forward to what we hope will be a successful season for everyone connected with Rangers. Our chairman, John Bennett, and the Rangers board, Michael and I, are all delighted with the work that has been done, with the focus now fully on our trip to Kilmarnock for the Scottish Premiership opener. And I think, like I've said in a number of videos now, James Bisgrove and the board, in particular John Bennett, deserve a massive congratulations. It's not often that teams' boards, and in particular Rangers board, gets praised by fans, but I think on this occasion they are more than owed that praise for what they have done this summer. Absolutely phenomenal. In Jose Cifuentes, you've got a player who likes to get forward, tries to score goals, assists as well. 20 assists across his career in 146 games, 16 goals. That's 36 goal contributions in 146 games. And those goal contributions and assists have gradually increased in their frequency as his career has gone on. A very talented footballer and a brilliant signing by Rangers indeed. Very doubtful that he will be available for Kilmarnock this Saturday, which obviously is unfortunate, but I do think it will take him a couple of weeks to settle in to the squad, get to know the team, get to know the way they play, and also get develop himself and get himself used to playing Scottish Premier League football. Now, let's talk a little bit about this man, Graeme Souness. Now, Graeme Souness was obviously is one of the greatest managers in Rangers history. When he walked into the club in 1986, he changed everything for the better. He turned our club on its head and made us into just a sheer force to be reckoned with. Souness, I mean, I when I first started supporting Rangers in 86, 87, it was when Souness came to the club. And Souness was one of the reasons I started. Obviously, Chris Woods, Terry Butcher, other reasons why, I came to Rangers and I've grown to love the club. Now, apparently, Souness was offered an ambassadorial role by James Bisgrove when he had negotiations with Bisgrove after he left Sky Television. However, Graeme Souness turned down that role and felt he couldn't make it work. Why, you may ask? Well, apparently Souness wanted something more directly involved with the football team and actually on the pitch side of the game, less of the ambassadorial thing. Now, was this perhaps a hint that he was interested in the sporting director's position, which obviously was made vacant when Ross Wilson moved to Nottingham Forest, a team he is making a complete mare of this summer? What a surprise that is. Now, I've got no doubts that if Souness had come in as sporting director, it could have, I think, caused a little bit of upset and maybe a little bit of, I don't know, it would have been a difficult one, wouldn't it? Bringing in a very successful former manager above our present manager could have put the board and the team in a very difficult position. I have no doubts that Souness probably could have done the job very well indeed. He certainly is someone who does not take any prisoners and does not stand any messing, as we saw from his time in management with Rangers and over his time as a pundit with Sky TV. I do feel, however, that perhaps he wasn't the type of person that Rangers are looking for their sporting director role. He is someone who, like I said, does not take any nonsense. Someone who, you may argue, obviously, that's what we need in this present day of footballers who seem to control the game. But I think it may have created, and I might be completely talking rubbish here, and please feel free to tell me if you think I am, that it could have perhaps created a kind of not opposition to, but an alternative to Michael Beale if things weren't going well. Maybe, bring back Graeme Souness, which would have increased pressure on Beale. I don't know. Maybe that was the thinking behind not offering him anything directly involved with the first team. But it's certainly clear from his comments that he made that that's what he wanted rather than an ambassadorial role. Graeme Souness holds no ill will towards James Bisgrove or the team and will continue to support the team and wants to see the team obviously regain the league title and do well in Europe and regain both the Scottish Cup competitions this coming season. He certainly is an absolute legend and always will be. Let's move on now to talk about Tom Lawrence. Tom Lawrence has come back from a pretty horrific injury. He came back in pre-season, played a few minutes against Hamburg, but then was not seen again. Now, it emerged the reason for this was because he suffered another injury blow. Now, before anyone gets onto the he's a sick note thing, that can often happen when you are returning from an injury, when you are not used to playing first team football. He made a phenomenal start, didn't he, to his time at the club. And, I think fans had a very high expectation of Tom Lawrence and a real difference maker that he could be. But this injury isn't as bad as his previous ones. And Lawrence, who was speaking at the open training session, stated that he had a minor knock from a training incident. That is nothing major, and he will be back in a few days. But given the fact that he's coming back from a major injury, Michael Beale has taken no risks with him and will not obviously push him until he is fully fit and fully able to go. He is a very, very talented player, capable of playing anywhere, behind a striker, as a number 8, out wide. He is a quality player and someone who will be like a new signing this season once he is back and fully fit. He keeps opposition defenses, honest as well with his ability and his desire to score. He likes to shoot from distance, something, again, that Rangers do need. He is a very highly talented player. And I think, we will see him used this season once he is fit. Because like it said, you can never have enough creative, talented, goal-scoring midfielders, if you want a realistic expectation of doing well and winning games and going and competing for that league title this season. And I've got no doubts that Tom Lawrence can play a very important role this season for Rangers. Now we build up towards that Kilmarnock game on Saturday. Kilmarnock are not going to be a pushover. They are I think they'll sit in. I think they'll be well organised. I think they'll be physical. I think they'll get stuck in. I think they'll give us a difficult game. But Rangers need to just get a win. And I think with the way the team is still taking time to gel, and I think it still needs time to gel, any sort of win will do as long as it is a win. We need to be exiting August with maximum points going into that Old Firm game at the start of September. 9 points is an absolute must for me from these first 3 games, starting obviously against Kilmarnock. Now, we will be previewing the Kilmarnock game properly on the podcast tomorrow morning, this morning, and obviously on subsequent videos, as well as we build towards the game on Saturday evening. Well, thank you so much for choosing to watch Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you here on the channel. Please hit that sub, ring that notification bell. And I need you to do 2 things for me. Number 1, smash that like. And number 2, remember, we are the people.